Hey everybody, it's Joric. Welcome back. I hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Today, I wanted to talk about something that's a little bit sensitive. It's not something I've hit on before, but based upon some viewer feedback, this is a video that I'm making that is really worth diving into a little bit. And that's talking about power of attorney documents. And let's give you an example. You're on a vacation to Italy and you're in an accident, you're incapacitated for a couple of months. Using that example because we know somebody who had been in that situation. Who is responsible for medical decisions and financial decisions while that person was incapacitated? Or you move to another country. Most of you follow this channel or found me because you're interested in Portugal. We moved from the US to Portugal in 2019, and we're young and healthy. We feel like we can take on the world and we're going to live forever, and we don't foresee that there's going to be any type of situation that's going to impact us. We're incapacitated, but there might be a situation that does come up. And let's say if I'm have a situation, my wife would be responsible for making decisions, or vice versa. Or let's say both of us were in the hospital incapacitated, who would handle our medical decisions as far as oversight? So, simple decisions as surgery, or major decisions of, say, tragic end of life decisions. And I'll say on the financial side, taking care of the bills, paying the bills, both here and back home, making sure that taxes, anything related to finances, is handled and managed while you are unable to do so. So these are called powers of attorney documents. There's usually two different kinds. There's a financial power of attorney and medical power of attorney. I'm generalizing because as I'm researching several countries, they're called different things in different countries. So I apologize. I'm going with what would be the US term. So it's either a power of attorney or durable power of attorney. And even within certain countries, so for example, United States, depending on what state you live in, there may be different scopes or ways these powers of attorneys have to be written. So they're very confusing, or they can be very confusing. That's why you need a legal expert to be able to craft them for you. But it's very important to have. We did not think about that when we were moving overseas, but we have come across several people, probably more than 10 individuals and or couples who have either been on vacation or have moved to a new country and have had a situation where they were incapacitated for a period of time and they didn't have anyone making a decision other than, let's say, it's a doctor on a medical side, and on the financial, no one. So let's go into just a little bit about what a medical power of attorney will handle. And those are things like, you have, I'll say, a heart attack, a stroke, you're in an accident, you're unconscious, you're unable to make any decisions whatsoever. So that would constitute the medical power of attorney kicking in, and whoever you have named to be that power of attorney basically handles the decisions for you. They act as you in making the decisions. So I would say most of the time when it comes to medical power of attorney, often it's not routine like surgery or transferring to a hospital, but they're bigger decisions. You are on vacation in Italy, you are living in Portugal, and you have major care or chronic care that's going to be needed for you, but you don't live in Italy or Portugal, meaning your home country is someplace else, you're just vacationing or you're an expat. The decisions of move you to another country, move you to another location, those are the, I'll say, easier ones. There is a financial component to it, but for medical care, what would be the best situation for you medically to be in? And then also, and most importantly, is the one of end of life. When would you put someone in charge of making the decision to say, okay, it's time to end this medical situation for this person? we are going to let this person, I think it's expiration. I'm trying to come up with something that um, the the not the uncouth thing is to pull the plug. I think people use that term when it's coming to end of life decisions, but who makes that decision? A pretty important decision. So the medical power of attorney gives someone some parameter and guidance, and you can write into this and have this as broad or as narrow as you want it to be. So that's the medical side of things. And then you have the financial. This is the one that might be more often used. So you have a stroke, you have a heart attack, you're in an accident and you're unconscious and incapacitated. Who handles your bills? Yes, you may have things on auto bill, but who's taking care of all of your utilities, your rent, your mortgage, car payment? Um, who handles if you are still getting paid, employment, that check coming in? Will someone have power to be able to direct money, your investments, withdrawals or deposits into stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and whatnot? Those are things that would be written into a financial power of attorney, and someone would have oversight over making those decisions on your behalf while you're incapacitated. As I've read up on powers of attorney, because I'm not well versed in this, so I apologize. Some of this is just getting feedback from attorneys, is that oftentimes it's written for the rest of your life, meaning the power of attorney, unless you change it, will have a date that ends when your life ends. But you could say, I want a power of attorney from point A to point B. I want this person in. You can always change who has oversight of that power of attorney. But whether it be the medical or the financial side, it is something that should go into your decision making when moving to another country, certainly, because that may be more of a long term thing than obviously a 2 or 3 week vacation somewhere. But accidents do happen. And everything from a swimming accident that left someone unconscious to, I guess technically, I believe it was a diving accident, to car accidents. Somebody fell off a moped and that injured them, and they had brain injury, and they were out of it for over 3 months in an incapacitated mode. These things do happen. So it's important to talk to uh, your spouse or partner, whoever you're going and moving with. If you're going to be alone, you're going to be single and moving abroad somewhere, do you have a family member that you trust that if they received a phone call from a hospital somewhere in the world, that you would trust them to make medical decisions on your behalf and or financial decisions on your behalf? So those are things that encompass both a medical or a financial power of attorney. And it has, once the suggestion came in, has gotten us thinking about some of these things. That one, I should be telling clients who are interested in moving to Portugal, hasn't come up in any discussions before, but I want to add it as a point of discussion so that if you're moving someplace, doesn't have to be Portugal, could be anywhere, that you're considering it. And then lastly, it really should be, even for vacations, depending on your age, your general health, what type of vacation are you doing? An active vacation where you're going to be doing a lot of physical activity. It may be something to consider having something in place, contacting a legal expert, an attorney in your area, and at least just asking questions and getting some guidance from them to determine whether this is something that you should have in your toolbox when you're on vacation or when you're moving someplace. Because in two examples I'm thinking of as I'm making this video and talking right now, both of the people are by themselves. And the one person that was incapacitated for 2 months in Italy, as well as someone who was hospitalized for over 6 months here in Portugal, they were single. They did not have when I say next of kin or family members, they weren't necessarily close to their brothers and sisters. They did not have any children. Their parents, both in both cases, were deceased, so they didn't have anyone that they felt like they could trust, even a good friend that could be the power of attorney. Those are situations that may come up. But if you were in that situation and you feel like there's no one that you might be able to turn to, you may want to revisit some of your relationships to just see, is there anyone out there that if you are put in this situation, they can help you. So again, a little more somber, sober video today, but it's worth considering. And the reason I, I'm considering, and we, my wife and I, have talked about what does it look like if one of us gets hospitalized, or both of us, most notably if both of us have an issue. We're in an accident traveling, we travel often, so statistically there may be something, an issue. We're on a bus trip, a bus tour, and the bus gets in an accident. If we're incapacitated, who handles things? How does that work? Looking into power of attorney documents, whatever that's called in your respective country, I think is worth your time just to go through the exercise to see if it's something that makes sense for you. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the videos and enjoy your travels.